teachers, what questions have you been asked at your interviews? I've been to a few interviews over my 10 years of teaching, and there's some questions that I feel come up all the time. If you can think of any other, please put them in the comments to help any other teachers that might be about to go for interview this year. So one question that I have always been asked and I always prep for is the classic, describe yourself in 3 words. They sometimes vary this slightly to be like, describe yourself as a teacher in 3 adjectives or something along those lines. But generally pick 3 words, make sure you can talk about them, always have those ready to go. A second classic one is, why do you want this job? It might be, why do you want this school? What makes this school appeal to you? Perhaps if it's for a year group, it might be, why do you want to teach in that year group specifically? It could be what value of the school do you resonate the most with, or what value makes you want to work here, or something like that. So just be prepared to make sure you've got some background knowledge about school that you'll be able to talk about. Another classic is a safeguarding question. They might ask you about what's happened with the update of the KISKI recently, things like that. They might give you a scenario. How would you handle this situation? What would you do if a safeguarding issue happened? Just be prepared to talk through the very standard, very obvious things that we all know. Speak to a DSL, make sure you log everything, write things down, make sure the child knows that it has to be shared, that you can't just keep it yourself. Schools know that you know this stuff, but it's sort of one of those things they have to do, so just be prepared for a safeguarding question. Another classic is a scenario, so it might be, can you think of a lesson that went wrong and what did you do? It could be, can you think of a lesson that went well? Why was it good? Could you have improved it further? It might be a question about a colleague. If you saw a colleague doing something or having a bad time, how would you handle that sort of thing? So just be prepared to come up with a few scenarios. 9 times out of 10, make them up, it doesn't matter, because they won't know, but just make sure they're believable if you do. But really good to come into it with some actual scenarios so that you're ready to answer that. Another classic is, why did you become a teacher? Schools want to know that you're passionate, pretty much, so make sure you've got an answer ready to go for that. You might have already written about it in your personal statement or cover letter, which, if you're interested in how to write one of those, I have got a pack that you can buy on my website. The link is in my link tree in my bio. And finally, if your interview comes after your interview lesson, the classic is that they're going to ask you about it. They're going to ask you, how do you think it went? And it's really important that you think of both sides, that you think of, it went really well because of this and this, but also be prepared to think of things that could have been improved. And it might be that they ask you, what would you have done to improve it? It might be that they ask you, what would come next? What would be the next lesson? And if they don't ask you that, it's really good to just offer it up anyway. So it really shows that you know about lesson progression, that you know that this wasn't just a random, that perhaps there was some pre-learning or post-learning that actually is going to be relevant to that lesson. So they know you know what you're doing. Any other ideas, pop them in the comments to help some other teachers.